Hi, we're just a few days away from the publication and availability of my radio book, In the Twist of the Dial, looking at radio during the span of my career in it from 1960 to 2020. And I want to give you a little preview. This is the first actual piece in the book. It's called A Boy and His Radio. And as you may have guessed, I would be that boy. There was a cubbyhole of a space in our living room where I could hide. Between the sofa and the wall was just enough room to wedge a hassock, a small end table with a box-shaped radio on it, and a boy. Sitting on the hassock, looking into the illuminated face of the radio, I imagined I could see what I was hearing and not what was happening around me. The arguments, paranoia, fantasies, and fears of a war-widowed mother, abused as a child, abuser as an adult. And from the apartment below, the alcoholic rantings and threats of her father bellowing up through the floor, himself occasionally staggering up our back stairs. At night, when, like the moon, the craziness really came out, I could, with a twist of the dial, listen to radio stations in places I had yet to visit: Boston, Chicago, Pittsburgh. School was as scary as home. Old maid teachers who resented their limited life choices and hated being in a classroom had little patience with a goofy kid with a hard to pronounce Italian last name. So I homeschooled myself, listening on the radio to the news events of the day. I heard Douglas MacArthur's Old Soldiers Never Die speech as he delivered it on the floor of Congress. Early evenings, I dialed from network to network to listen to the 15-minute commentaries of journalists like Edward R. Murrow, H.V. Kaltenborn, Gabriel Heater, Lowell Thomas. I didn't always understand what they were talking about, but I knew what they were saying was important, and I was impressed by the way they said it. There were network dramas and comedies on the radio, and I listened to them. We didn't own a television yet. I enjoyed the music, still largely big band, and the silly songs that brought welcome laughter to post-war America. Come On to My House, and How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? But mostly I listened to hear the announcers, their deep, smooth voices, their crisp articulation. They sounded like the fathers of the kids a few blocks away in the nicer neighborhood, the WASPs whose kids had pronounceable last names. I looked into the radio when I heard those announcers. I wanted to be in there with them, away from the house I lived in and the family that fate had misdealt me. I wanted to be them. And eventually I did, and was on the air in radio for 60 years. So that's one of the first pieces, and probably the most personal of the pieces in my book, In the Twist of the Dial. So much of the other pieces are really designed to give you an idea of how radio works and explain it in ways that you can understand, and how it has changed in those 6 decades that I was in and involved with radio. Thank you. Have a great day.